unboxing and review of the JOYO DC-15s digital guitar practice amp. This amp came directly from JOYO, and you can see the amp on their website, which is joyoaudio.co.uk. And you can see from the description there that it's described as having multi-effects, a looper, Bluetooth, a foot switch and a drum machine. And you can see by the description on the website that there's going to be quite a lot of features to look at. So let's get on with it and do the unboxing. The box is really securely sellotaped up, so I'll speed this bit up as it's going to take me a couple of minutes to get inside it. And as I get inside the box, you'll notice that the amplifier isn't the only item in there. There's actually two other items in the box. One is an acoustic guitar vibration pickup, which is a strange thing that's kind of like the electronics behind the Yamaha Acoustasonic range. And the second thing in there is a DI/reamp box. And I'll be reviewing both of those items in separate videos. So if you'd like to see either of those videos, just like, subscribe and hit the bell icon, and you'll be notified when I upload them. Right, there's the three items. However, today we're only looking at the amplifier. So firstly, let's take a quick look at the features as described on the box. Right, on the box then it says it's got full range audio playback support, 9 guitar preamp models, 4 built-in modulation effects, 2 built-in space emulation effects, 2 user presets are available, a built-in drum machine, a built-in looper with 30-second recording time, Bluetooth 4 for music and backing track playing, an audio interface for iOS and Android devices for live streaming, a built-in rechargeable lithium battery, and a foot switch pedal is included. Well, I'm not 100% sure what some of that means, and I'm a little dubious about some of the English. However, it gives us plenty to look at. So let's get the amplifier out of the box so we can take a good look at it. Underneath the lid of the box and on top of the amplifier are the accessories. And the accessories include what looks like a lead to connect it to a mobile phone, the power supply, what looks like a stereo jack plug lead, which I'm assuming is for the foot switch, the mains lead for the power supply, and finally the foot switch. And underneath the accessories and the packaging is the amplifier itself, which for its size is very weighty, but I'm assuming this is partially because it's self-powered. Right, I'll take the amplifier out of the bag now so I can get a proper look at it. And at first sight and feel, I'm not disappointed. It looks and feels like it's really good quality. And the chrome knobs on black background really looks sweet. And it kind of reminds me of the Line 6 look. Something I noticed straight away, which is quite unusual for a guitar practice amp, is the fact that it's got two-way speakers and a sound port. Now this isn't something you'd normally find on a guitar practice amp, so we'll have to see later whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. Right. As the first charge on any rechargeable battery is the most important one, I'll make sure it's fully charged first before I do the tests. So I'll take the power supply out of the bag and plug it into the mains lead. And once I've plugged the mains lead into the power supply, I can plug the power supply into the amplifier. So on the back of the amplifier, you can see that there's a power switch, and next to that there's a 15 volt 4 amp DC in socket, which is where I'll obviously have to plug the power supply. When you plug in the power supply and the unit's on charge, the power LED goes blue. And according to the instructions, once it's charged, that LED will turn red. Now the battery took no time at all to charge, so I can only assume it had been pre-charged before it had been sent out. Right, let's have a look around the amp before we try it out. The build quality is really good, and it's built mainly of metal and plastic. However, it's really robustly made. The speakers are protected behind a metal grille. And on the base of the amp, it's got 4 rubber feet with good depth. On the back of the amp, there's a control panel which has not only got the power switch and the power supply socket, but it's also got 2 outputs for mobile phone, one for iOS and one for Android. And underneath those is the socket for the footswitch and also a line out. This is the updated version of the DC-15, and what they've gone for with this version is far better integration with mobile phones and tablets and stuff, so it can be used far more easily for live streaming and such like. And this is obviously why they've included an iOS and Android output on the back of the unit. The top end of the amp is obviously the business end, and rather than just showing you each control, we'll do some tests and then you'll have a better idea of each function. But it's worth pointing out that the top has got 2 really strong carrying handles on it as well, which also act as protection for the controls. So if you were to drop anything on it or bang the amp, then you'd be far less likely to break off any of the controls. Right, I'll turn the amp on now and I'll do some tests. So the first thing I'll try will be the Bluetooth. And according to the instructions, I have to press the Bluetooth button down for a couple of seconds and it'll start to flash to say that it's looking for the device to be paired with. Right, off screen now, I'm just connecting it with the Bluetooth on my phone. And I've turned on the Bluetooth and it can see it as the DC-15s. So I'm just waiting for the amp now to pick up with the phone. Bingo, brilliant, that's connected up straight away, which I'm really pleased about because I don't know if it's me or my phone, but I don't have much joy with Bluetooth generally. And I'm using my own tunes because if I include anyone else's, I'll lose monetization. So this is one most of my subscribers will know. When you connect any devices to the amp via Bluetooth, it's worth noting that none of the controls on the amp have any effect on the sound. So to adjust the tone and the volume etc, you have to do it from within the phone, which isn't really an issue as long as you're aware of it. And obviously you've actually got more control of the sound from within the phone anyway. I think this is where the two-way speakers come into their own, because the sound quality is surprisingly good. However, unfortunately you're not hearing that because this is being recorded through the microphone on my camera. But I'll set up a decent microphone in a bit so you can hear more accurately how it sounds. It's also worth noticing I'm using it off its own battery, and this could be really useful if you're into outdoor parties and barbecues and picnics and stuff, because you can take your music wherever you go. Okay, I'll just decouple the Bluetooth and then that test I think is a successful one. Right, before I plug a guitar in, I'll just do a test of the drum machine. But I'll combine 2 tests here by using the line out to record it. To start the drums, I press the style button. And of course you can alter the tempo of the drums using the tap button to tap out the speed you want. The style selector control is digital, which means you can go round more than once. And this might be a little confusing for you to select a specific pattern quickly. I think this is something you'd have to get used to, especially as there's no display to tell you what pattern you're on. The drums have an independent volume control, so you can mix it better with what you're playing. Here's a list of the drum patterns, so you could pause the video here if you want to take a look at them. However, I think the sound quality and the selection of drum patterns is really good. Right, I'll plug a guitar in and I'll leave everything flat now and then just introduce a little bit of volume and gain so I can adjust the volume for recording. Right, I'll try what they call space, but the first one is delay, and then beyond that it goes into reverb. And I find that the best way to test delay and reverb sounds is just by clicking the guitar. And now I'll try the effects, which are chorus, phaser, flange and tremolo. And these effects, for test purposes, I tend to find sound better using chords. Let's take a look at the amps and the amp control now. But I warn you in advance, all I'm going to do is go through each one briefly, because there's so much in this little amp that if I went through them all in detail, this video would go on for hours. You can see what I mean when I say you could probably spend all day exploring the sounds on this amp. It's really good for variety of sound. Here's another couple of short tests where I've tried to cover a variety of styles of music. Forgive me for all the missed notes. I'm playing really badly today, but it gives you a good idea of how the amplifier sounds anyway. Right, to finish off the tests, let's take a look at the provided pedal. And you can see it's really solidly built. It's solid metal, and the switches have a really good solid click about them. So it feels like it would last well. Right, let's connect it to the amplifier to see what it does. To plug it in then, we use the provided lead, and we turn the pedal round and plug one side into there, and then the other side goes into the foot switch socket alongside the line out on the amplifier. Let's try the preset storage, and this can be done with either the button on the amplifier itself or on the floor switch, and I'll use a bit of both. And the first thing you do is get the sound you want. So I'll get a clean sound first. And once you've got the sound you want, you press the preset button for 2 seconds. That's either the floor switch or the switch on the amp, and that's saved it. And then you can change the settings on the amplifier, and that's your second setting. And when you press the preset button, you'll go between those 2 settings. And that's another feature that works really well. So far this amp's doing really well. Right, let's look at the last feature now, which is the looper. To operate the looper, firstly you press the foot switch or the button on the amp and the LED turns red, and this means you're recording your first loop. As soon as you've finished recording the first loop, press the button again and the LED will go green and it'll start playing that back straight away. And it's important you synchronise the stop and the start correctly, otherwise it won't loop correctly. If you then press the button again, the LED will turn red and you can record over the first loop. And you can record over this loop again and again. When using a looper, it's really important that you synchronise the beginning and the end correctly, otherwise the loop just doesn't sound right. So I'll be using the drum machine to help me do that. Right, I'll stop the loop and then I'll restart it. And the first time I'll start it out of time with the drums just to see what the effect is, and then I'll see how hard it is to start in time with the drums. Well, the looper certainly works okay as well. If I had any criticism of the looper, it's that you can't adjust its volume independently, but that's it. Now, in this review, I've covered nearly everything, or certainly all the important guitar parts. However, there's a couple of things I've missed. The headphone socket, the line in, and the Android and iOS interface. And the only reason I haven't filmed these is because the video was just getting too long. However, I can assure you they all work. So let's go to the conclusion. Price-wise, this isn't the cheapest practice amp you can get. You can get a lot cheaper than this. However, price to features, this is head and shoulders above the competition. And the main feature is the fact that it's got its own built-in batteries, so you can use it on the go. And whilst I filmed this video, I flattened a light battery and 2 camera batteries, and I didn't have to recharge the actual unit itself. However, I can't tell you in total how long the battery would last for, and there would be a lot of variability depending on how loud you had it. Are you using the Bluetooth in the drum machine, and a lot of other variables that would affect the length of time the battery lasts. However, I can tell you, if you leave it idle for a couple of minutes, it turns itself off automatically. So then you have to turn it on again, which is a really good feature. Regarding the other features on the amp, well, you've seen the video, and the sounds you can get out of it and the features in the amp are really great. There are a few improvements I would suggest for the next version. For example, some sort of display to tell you what drum kit you're on, and the ability to adjust the loop volume. But apart from that, it's a fantastic bit of kit. And of course, the build quality is really good, and the sound quality is really good. If you're looking for a practice amp with the features this amp offers, then I'd recommend it. And I'll put the links down below to where you can buy it, so that you can check out the availability in your country and the price at the time you watch this video. And that's all I can say about this amp really. Thank you very much for watching this in-depth review. And if you like it and you'd like to see more reviews like this or guitar lessons, please like and subscribe and hit the bell icon, and then you'll be notified when I upload new videos. And if you're looking for free guitar lessons, you could also check out ebooks4guitar.com, and there you'll find several guitar courses completely free. Thank you very much for watching.